ROWAN of RIN. It's happening. We can see what the hype's about. There's nothing on my shirt this time. I'll be happy to know. Right. The meeting. One morning, the people of Rin woke to find that the stream that flowed down the mountain and through their village had slowed to a trickle. By nightfall, even that small flow had stopped. The mill wheel lay idle. There was no water to turn its heavy blades. The Bookshire drinking pool on the other side of the village was still. No bubbling stream was stirring it into life and keeping it topped up to the brim. Sorry, this is so hard. Look at this. Oh, I can't read that. Anyway, there was no change on the second day or the third. By the fourth day, the water in the pool was thick and brown. The Bookshire shook their heavy heads and pawed the ground when they went to drink in the morning and the evening. After 5 days, the pool was so shallow that even little Anard, who was only 5 years old, could touch the bottom with her hand without getting her sleeve wet. And still, the stream failed to flow. On the evening of the 6th day, the worried people met in the market square to talk. The Bookshire could not drink at all today, said Lan, the oldest person in the village and once the greatest fighter. If we do not act soon, they will die. Not Star, whispered Anand to her brother, who was the keeper of the Bookshire. Star will not die, though, will she, Rowan? Because you will give Star water from our well. Bookshire cannot drink from our well, Anand, said Rowan. It is not sweet enough for them. It makes them ill. They can only drink the water that flows down from the mountain. It has always been so. If the stream stays dry, Star will die like all the rest. Anand began to sob quietly. The children of Rin were not supposed to cry, but Anand was very young and she loved Star. Rowan stared straight ahead. His eyes were tearless, but his chest and throat ached with sadness and fear. The sadness was for Star, his friend and the strongest and gentlest of all the Bookshire, and for all the other great, humped, woolly beasts, each of which he knew by name, but the fear was for himself and Anand and their mother, and indeed for the whole village. Rowan knew, as Anand did not, that without the Bookshire here, there would be no rich creamy milk to drink, no cheese, curd and butter to eat. There would be no thick grey wool for cloth. There would be no help to plough the fields or carry in the harvest. There would be no broad backs to bear the burdens on the long journeys down to the coast to trade with the clever, silent Maris folk. The life of Rin depended on the Bookshire. Without them, the village too would die. Anand could not imagine the valley without the village, but Rowan could. Reading the old stories in the House of Books, listening half asleep to Timon under the teaching tree, and most of all, sitting on the grass by the stream while the Bookshire grazed around him in the silence of the morning, he had often imagined this place as the first settlers must have seen it. Hundreds of years ago, they had climbed through the hills, carrying the few things they owned on their backs, looking for somewhere in this strange land that they could claim as their own. They had come from far away, across the sea. They had fought a terrible enemy. On the coast they had heard, from the wandering native people they called the travellers, of a place at the bottom of a forbidden mountain in the high country far inland. They had been tramping for many, many days in the search of it. They were very tired. Some had almost given up hope. Then one afternoon they had topped a rise and looked down. There below them, nestled between a towering mountain ahead and the hill on which they stood, was a green, secret valley. The people stared, speechless. They saw trees loaded with small blue fruits and fields of flowers they did not recognize. They saw a stream and a pool and a herd of strange grey beasts lifting their heads to stare. Horns shining in the sun. Horns shining in the sun. They saw silence, stillness, and rich earth and peace. The people knew that this was the place. This would be their home. So they came down and mingled with the big, gentle animals who were tame and unafraid. They called them the Bookshaw. The stream flows down from the mountain, said Brondon, the furniture maker, her loud voice breaking into Rowan's thoughts. He watched her stab the air with her stubby finger pointing. So the problem must be up there, up there. Something is amiss. Something is stopping the flow. All eyes turned to the mountain rising high above the village, its tip shrouded as always in cloud. We must climb the mountain and find out what it is, Brondon went on. This is our only chance. No, Neil the Potter shook his head. We cannot climb the mountain, even the travellers do not venture there. Terrible dangers await anyone who dares, and at the top, the dragon. Brondon sneered at him. You are talking like a crazy traveller yourself, Neil. There is no dragon. The dragon is a story told to children to make them behave. If there was a dragon, we would have seen it. It would prey on the Bookshaw, and on us. Perhaps it takes its prey elsewhere. We do not know, Brondon. Olun, the baker's light, pleasant voice rose above the muttering of the crowd. But if you will excuse me for talking like a crazy traveller, remembering that my father was one, and it is only to be expected, let me remind you of what we do know. His usually smiling face was grim as he stared Brondon down. We do know that we hear it roar almost every morning and every night, and that we see its fire in the cloud. Brondon rolled her eyes disdainfully, but Rowan shivered. Tending the Bookshaw in the cold and dark of winter mornings, and in the evenings when the sun had slipped behind the mountain, he had heard the sound of the dragon. He had seen its fire, too, in the sky above the cloud. The Bookshaw swayed and grew restless at these times. The calves bellowed, and the bigger beasts pawed the ground, flared their nostrils, and huddled together in fear. Even Star moaned when the dragon roared. When he stroked her neck to calm her, he would feel the nerves jumping under her long, soft wool. Suddenly he realized something no one else seemed to have thought of. He must speak. Nervously, he rose to his feet. The villagers stared curiously at him. What could the boy Rowan, the shy, timid herder of the Bookshaw, have to say? The dragon has not roared since the stream dried up, said Rowan. Not in the mornings and not at night. He spoke as loudly as he could, but his voice sounded small in the silence. He sank back to his place. Is this so? Olun looked around the circle. Is the boy mistaken? No, he is not, said Brondon slowly. I recall it now. Indeed, there has been no sound from the mountain for days. She lifted her head. So, I am right. There is something amiss high above us. I have told you what we must do. But we cannot do it, insisted Neil with dread. The mountain is too steep, too dangerous. We cannot climb it. Has anyone ever tried? Inquired Olun. Yes, said tall, straight-backed Marley, the weaver and dyer of cloth. In times gone by, some people did climb the mountain to look for new fruits to plant in our orchard, but they never returned. After that, the people of Rin heeded the warning and left the mountain alone. You see, Neil burst out, you see, if we climb the mountain, we will die. But Neil, boomed Brondon, if we do not climb the mountain, we will die. Brondon is right. We must make our choice, said Strong John, who was the keeper of the orchard. We remain here and hope the stream begins running again of its own accord, or we climb the mountain and try to remove whatever is stopping the water from flowing down to us. Both ways are dangerous. What is our decision? To go or to stay? We must go, Marley replied. We cannot simply stand by and let death slowly come to our village. I vote to go." "And I," shouted Brondon. "I vote yes," said Strong John. "I too," added Alun lightly. "Yes, we agree," growled mighty Val the Miller, who had stood silently listening in the shadows, shoulder to shoulder as always with Ellis, her twin brother. Val and Ellis toiled together in the mill, grinding the grain into flour, endlessly cleaning the great stone building so that not a speck of dirt or the tiniest spiderweb could be seen within its walls. Gilla, Rowan's mother, said that since childhood no one had ever seen them apart. Yes, yes, yes. One by one the villagers stood up. Rowan looked around at the familiar faces, now so serious and stern. Macy, the keeper of the books, was standing, with her son and daughter. So were Timon, the teacher, and Bree and Hannah from the gardens. White-haired Lan leaned against her stick beside them, and even fat, soft Sola, who made sweet toffees and cakes, and never could resist his own cooking, had struggled to his feet. Then Rowan saw Gilla rise slowly and join them. His heart thudding with fear, he scrambled to his feet beside her. Soon Neil the potter and 4 others were the only ones still seated. "So it is decided," cried Brondon triumphantly. "We will arm ourselves and set out at dawn." "Wait," said Marley. "We must not go without consulting Sheba." "That mad old hag, that spinner of children's nightmares and curer of pains in the belly. What has she got to do with this?" "Sheba is old, Brondon, but she is not mad," said Marley firmly. "As anyone who has been cured of illness by her remedies will tell you, Sheba knows more than herbs and spells. She understands the mountain as you and I never will. Sheba knows the way up the mountain. The secret way she was taught by the wise women before her. We must ask Sheba to help us." "This is a good idea," agreed Strong John. The people murmured. Many did not trust the wise woman Sheba. She lived alone beyond the orchard, gathering herbs and other growing things and selling the medicines, ointments, and dyes she made from them. She rarely spoke to anyone other than those with whom she traded, and when she did, it was seldom pleasant. The children of Rin were a hardy crew, like all of their race, but they were afraid of Sheba, and called her not wise woman, but witch. "Oh, come, what harm can it do?" called Alun, grinning. "If the old one can tell us anything, which I doubt, then all the better. If she cannot, we have lost nothing." "Travel is foolishness," snapped Brondon. "This is not a game, Alun the baker. Why don't you—" "Enough," cried old Lan. She glanced at Brondon, who scowled. "We are going into the unknown," she said sternly, "and time is precious. We cannot afford to miss a chance to speed our way. Who knows Sheba best?" "I know her," said Strong John. "She gathers a herb that grows under the hoopberry trees in the orchard." "I trade with her," said Marley. "Her purple and blue dyes in return for cloth." "Then you two can go and beg her favor," sniffed Brondon. "Since you are so keen to do so." She turned her back on them. "We will wait here for your return," said Alun. "Be speedy. There is much to plan." He laughed. "And take care not to insult her now. Like Brondon, she is not a woman to be trifled with." Strong John looked around at the watching villagers and pointed. Rowan jumped. John's finger was pointing at him. "Boy Rowan," called Strong John. "Little rabbit, herder of the bookshop. Run and get 2 cheeses from the cool house, the oldest, ripest, strongest cheeses from the topmost shelf, and bring them to us at Sheba's hut. Sheba is very fond of good strong cheese. The gift will sweeten her temper." Rowan stared open-mouthed and did not move. He was terrified of Sheba. His mother nudged him. "I will go," piped up Bernard beside him. "I am not frightened." Laughter rippled through the crowd. "Go along, Rowan," Gilla urged in a whisper. "Do as you are bid, at once." Rowan scuttled away through the crowd. He is scared of his shadow, that boy, he heard Val the miller mutter to his brother. As he passed them, he will never be the man his father was. Ellis grunted agreement. Rowan ran on, his cheeks burning with shame. Okay, I didn't know Rowan was a young child. Very interesting premise. I'm a bit confused, but we shall see.